edition of World Cup Talk with me, Salailo Makwidiri, with you from now until right around 5 p.m. Back again to discuss some of the most outstanding, most prominent, most standout fixtures of the World Cup. It's really starting to take shape. It's coming to the business end of things. The World Cup round of 16 is almost over, and we have about only two places in the quarterfinals that are left up for grabs. Yesterday, we saw, I think, what one could describe as one of the most standout games that we saw on Monday. Brazil and Croatia advancing to the quarterfinals there, with Brazil putting on a performance, I think, of a generation. I think yesterday's performance by Brazil was one that cemented, their place as one of the favorites of this edition of the World Cup, after annihilating South Korea there 4-1, with four beautiful goals from their star-studded forwards. They're starting, of course, with Vinicius Junior, and yeah, it was a World Cup of note. There are other fixtures that are still going to take place today. African interest still there. Morocco, they're about to face a very stubborn Spain side, which is also one of the favorites. That game is starting in about 30 minutes Central African time, and then Portugal, Cristiano Ronaldo, with all being said around his club, future, where is he going to go after the World Cup? His focus will be on the clash that's going to be coming up later in the day around 9 p.m., where they'll be facing off with Switzerland. But so far, the teams that have cemented their place in the quarterfinals of the 2022 World Cup: Brazil, Croatia, Netherlands, Argentina, France, and England. While we're still waiting for the winners between Spain and Morocco, and Portugal and Switzerland. Are those the teams that you guys are expecting to go into the business end of the World Cup? Are those the teams that you guys, had an idea that they could probably shine in this World Cup? And who are the teams that you think are missing? The teams that you think they could have done better in this World Cup, but they didn't because of whatever reasons, whether it's the coach or the players just not being up to the task. You can just leave your comment in the comment section, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. You can just click on it, and then we'll share your comments with the rest of the audience, and then we can just enjoy some lovely football banter. But just in a bit, is Uncle Ismail Teladia. He's a football sport administrator. He's been following the World Cup very keenly, and I just want to get his thoughts. We'll be chatting about some of the standout fixtures, the teams that have made it to the quarterfinals. Uncle Ismail, the teams that are through: Brazil, Croatia, Netherlands, Argentina, France, and England so far are through to the quarterfinals. First and foremost, salamu alaikum. Good afternoon. What do you make of them? Are you happy? Who did you expect is going to make it this far, and who kind of disappointed you and didn't make it out of the group stages?
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to you, Salela, and to the and to your listeners and viewers. As I predicted in our last discussion, the teams that we wanted to be in that last eight, they are all there. We're just waiting on the outcome of this afternoon's fixture between Morocco and Spain. Spain being one of the teams that I expected to be in the quarterfinals. But now that there is no other African team in the quarterfinals, one would hope that Morocco would do something different and force their way into the quarterfinals. The other team that will be coming through probably would be Portugal, and so the usual suspects are there. Brazil is there. We predicted that. We were hoping that Argentina would get through. And then to me, the sad quarterfinal is England and France. I would have wanted them to be sort of kept separate and probably meet in the semifinals because I back both teams. There's been lots of talk around Maguire, but for some reason or other, Maguire seems to be upping his game when it comes to playing for his national team. at his club, it doesn't look like much, and there's probably lots of blame that is, passed his way. Uh, but England and France, I thought, would be good semi-finalists, and that was my prediction. England, France, Spain, and Brazil. So, having looked at some of the games, I'm not looking beyond. Germany was disappointing. There's no doubt about that. But I thought there would be an African team really pushing to get into the serious knockout stages of the competition.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, that hasn't happened up until now. So let's see what happens this afternoon in the early game. Spain
Mm.
started off, on that roller coaster, on a high, but they seem to have been subdued somewhat as the tournament has progressed. So it could be interesting to see how they fare this evening. To me, the Brazilian team is a standout team at this point in time. I like France, but Brazil, looking at that first half yesterday, they were sublime. You can't compete with the kind of attacking power that Brazil has. And one of the players that is not necessarily featuring, amongst the goals, but Rafinha is an absolute star. I mean, the way he manages the ball, the way he creates opportunities for others. He is one of the guys that is really a standout player for me in this particular World Cup. So if you look at just the scoring that transpired yesterday, Neymar got onto that score sheet. He's now scored 76 goals for Brazil. That is only one goal behind the legendary Pele. So one more goal in this tournament would put him on par. And if he were to score a second goal in the semi-finals or in the quarterfinals, he could easily then surpass the legendary Pele as the top goal scorer for Brazil. But then I look at Ricarlson, and if you look at two goals of the tournament, then you
Ah.
must look at both of Ricarlson's goals. Okay, so one of them is definitely going to be the goal of the tournament. The bicycle kick, his first goal that opened the scoring for Brazil in the 22 FIFA World Cup, that was absolutely sublime. But then that team goal last night was just something else. He managed not only to control the ball on his with his head, so he bounced the ball off his head twice. He then dropped the ball onto his feet with the immediate pass to one of his teammates. He then ran forward into space. The ball was then passed to one of his other teammates, who then passed it to him, and he finished off a brilliant team move. And so well done to them. That to me are the two outstanding goals of this particular World Cup. Yes, there's that free kick. Um, I think it was from France.
Mm.
That was a brilliant free kick. But yeah, these two goals are the two standout goals for me at this particular point in time. So
Mm.
Neymar is there. He's on the score sheet. Vinicius Junior is on the score sheet. You have Ricarlson on the score sheet. You have the midfielder Torrentino, who got onto the score sheet yesterday and possibly should have had two goals. And then the guy that's not getting onto the score sheet,
Yeah,
Rapinho,
Rafinha.
he's absolutely brilliant. So I'm quite happy to see Brazil where they are at currently. But let's look at the other teams. France, Kylian and Pepe, he's a star. There's no doubt about it. And then the goal that was disallowed from Antoine Griezmann getting his scoring boots polished. And so as we move into the quarterfinals, I definitely think Griezmann is going to come up strong. And then, of course, the leading goal scorer for France, Olivier Giroud, at 37 years of age, definitely still very much on top of his game. And then, of course, for Argentina, Lionel Messi. I mean, this guy had to step up. Excuse me, and he got onto the score sheet. So, where do we stand at the moment? The three greats that we're looking at this particular tournament. let's put four of them in that particular category. So it's Lionel Messi. He's shown
Hmm.
in the last game he scored a goal for Argentina, and that just lifted the whole team. Neymar scored a goal last night. That penalty, the manner in which he
Hmm.
took that penalty, just showed his confidence. And then Kylian Mbappe scored that one for France. In fact, he scored two for France.
Scored
So
two.
he's
Yep.
in sublime form. So there's one more guy of this quadruple of players, Cristiano Ronaldo. And so we're looking to see what he does tonight in terms of taking Portugal to the next level. If he comes off, if he scores, then I think this World Cup is made. You don't have to go beyond the
Definitely.
last 16 because the top
Definitely.
four players in world football have really put up their hand and said, wow, we are here. This is why we are paid the big money that we do receive. And so all of them, because that is what people look for. People are
Mm,
wanting to see these top names coming to the fore and really showing what they are worth. And so three of the four have done their bit. Tonight we
mm,
have a focus on the fourth one, Cristiano Ronaldo, and let's hope that he steps up. But
mm,
take nothing away from England. England has been playing excellently well. Henderson was given an opportunity to start in the last group game, and the coach could not leave him out of the starting lineup for the last 16 fixtures. So Henderson put up his hand and really said, "I'm here. I want to contribute," and he has played his role in strengthening this particular England team. And so the Chris Fodens, Marcus Rashfords, these young guys are really coming to the fore and showing that there is depth in English football and that there is an opportunity for these players. We see them week in and week out, but here's an opportunity on the bigger stage, and they're all grabbing the opportunity, and so well done to them. And then of
mm,
course
mm,
we've been talking about this young Spanish team, and so we want to see them tonight. Stepping up, after their seven-goal thriller in that first match, they haven't really come to the party in scoring a lot more goals. But we want to see tonight whether they are going to step up in doing that. So on the one hand, I want to see Spain doing well. On the other hand, I want to see Morocco representing Africa and
mm,
being the, let's call it, the last representative for an African team to be in the quarterfinals. There's nothing from Asia left. All the Asian teams are now out of the competition. So the only continent that we are looking at is France. Otherwise, we're looking at South America, Europe, and the usual suspects. We need to
mm,
be looking beyond that. The one
mm.
team
I,
of
I just want us to sorry to
yeah,
interject there,
no,
just to touch on Brazil a bit. I
yeah,
think the first interaction that we had, you and I, was when they were going to play their first game, and we spoke about the amount of stars that they have. The depth
yes.
that they have in the squad. Neymar, Richarlison, Rafinha, Marquinhos, Thiago Silva. They have such a big squad, and on the bench you still have the likes of Gabriel Martinelli. You still have a lot of young, really good players. But I just want us to just touch on the brilliance of their coach, Tite, for a bit. He brought 23 men to the World Cup, and all of them got some playing time. All 23 of them, the three goalkeepers, and each and every player that flew from Brazil to Qatar, they played. How important, and how difficult it must be, you in sports administration, having so much talent at one go and being able to manage the different egos and the personalities that come with, because I'm sure it wouldn't be easy. Every player in that Brazilian squad plays at the highest level in club football. It's either they are, the standout player, or they're the young upcoming talent. I mean, when you look at the likes of Vinicius Jr., what he's doing with Real Madrid, Gabriel Martinelli, what he's doing with Arsenal in the EPL, managing that kind of talent, managing those egos, it mustn't be an easy task. I'm sure it's something very difficult.
I think the first and foremost, the most important thing, and this goes for all national teams or all club teams, is the ethos that you have in the team. So
mm,
there's a respect within the team for every person is individual. And so if the players amongst themselves have that particular respect for one another, and they acknowledge why they find themselves in a particular position in that particular team, then all of them will contribute. If I were to make a comparison and use the example of our Proteas cricket team, uh,
mm,
there is no connection, a full connection between every player in the Proteas cricket team and what we see in the Brazilian team. So that ethos
mm,
that you have in that Brazilian team, it is playing for the badge. It is acknowledging that we have, each one of us have a role to play, and each one of us have a contribution to make. And so no matter if your name is Neymar, or your name is Vinicius Junior, there is the respect to get into that team and to be on the playing park.
mm,
From a coaching perspective, I've coached a national junior team in volleyball. I've coached cricket teams at provincial level, and I have that firm belief that you have to get every player onto the park.
mm,
There is you cannot just be dependent on a core group of players. Yes, they will drive things for you, but at the end of the day, you need every person that has been selected on merit and has a contribution to make to the team. So you try and get all your players onto the playing park, get the feel of the tournament. Whether you're playing cricket, whether you're playing volleyball, whether you're playing football, you need to give everybody an opportunity. So everybody feels part of the team. But more importantly, what happens if one or two of your star players get injured? Now,
mm,
somebody who hasn't played any matches, you're now forced to bring such an individual into the fray, and you
mm,
bring somebody in cold, doesn't connect with everybody else, and you don't have a team that is going to take you to the next level. So what Tite has done is completely brilliant in terms of ensuring that every player has the opportunity to get onto the park. He knew that there were some fixtures that you'd probably consider to be a soft fixture, and therefore made 8 changes to the second or the third game that they played, and that allowed him to have given all the players in his squad the opportunity to run onto the field. That gives confidence to every player. That when you have a team talk, when you're saying this is your role in the team, or you're speaking to the individual on a one-on-one basis, it just strengthens the connection between the players in that team, but also the connection with the coach. So if the coach
mm,
makes a change, there is an acceptance of what the coach has in mind, and so there's not going to be any negative feedback from a player if he's taken off the field by the coach, because he understands the coach has a game plan, and this is his role in that particular game plan. So brilliantly done, and it's going to count in their favor as they progress further in the tournament.
mm. No, definitely. Let's shift focus to the fixture that's going to be kicking off in about 20 minutes at 5 p.m. Your favorites, as you mentioned, Spain. Looking at the journey, how they started the World Cup, they started with that emphatic win over Costa Rica, winning 7-0. They went on to draw 1-1 with Germany, and they lost 2-1 to Spain. So they've been blowing a bit of hot and cold, not being really consistent. While on the other hand, you're looking at a Morocco side, which well, they started a bit slow with that nil-nil draw against Croatia. Went on to beat, what we thought were one of the favorites, Belgium, 2-0, and then went on to beat Canada again 2-0. So it's a contrast how the two teams started. Spain starting really really well. I mean, 7-0 at a World Cup opening game. You automatically, telling the world that we're here. You're setting the tone up for bigger things. But then, the draws came after that. And then they went on to lose again. So do you think maybe Morocco might have an upper hand coming into this game? Seeing how they gradually, you know went on with the tournament. As the tournament progressed, so did their performances. They started scoring goals. They defended really well against a really, really good attacking Belgian team. That has the likes of Kevin De Bruyne up front. Witzel. They're a really good team, and Morocco beating them. Must say something about how they're playing. Also, Canada. It was their first appearance in the World Cup after 33 years. Morocco beat them 2-1. So I'm seeing Morocco coming into this not as much as underdogs as a lot of people might want to think. Would I be correct?
No, absolutely. I mean, Morocco has definitely they're beginning to almost come to peaking in this tournament. So
Definitely.
you
Yeah.
start slowly, and you're looking to peak in the business end of the tournament. And so we have reached the business end of the tournament where we're talking about knockout matches, and I think Morocco has come into this World Cup. You know, well focused in terms of what it is that they want to achieve. One of the things that's happening in Morocco, one is that the club football is really strengthening, and we've seen that in the African Champions League.
Hmm.
We've seen some of the top clubs standing out. We've seen the women's football taking a step up. And really, I mean, in the final of the Women's Champions League, they beat Mamelodi Sundowns. So there is strength within the Moroccan Football Association, and so from the federation's perspective, they're giving the support to the national teams which is required. Then you have a couple of the players that are playing in the European leagues. Uh, Yimek is definitely one of those players that stand out. I was just reading an article about him not taking any of the salaries which are accorded to them for representing the national side, and he's indicated that they should just basically pay that monies to charity. But coming to the team itself, I think that they're beginning to gel as a unit. And this is standing them in good stead as they peak for this particular match this evening. Now, Spain, you must remember that they have quite a number of young players in their side.
Hmm.
The experience is there in the midfield and in the defense, and they've got quite a number of young players with spread across the Spanish team. The fact that you don't have David De Gea at the tournament says to you that the coach is looking at developing the youth and blending that youth with some of the experienced players. And so Alvaro Morata has put up his hand in terms of having started out on the bench and forcing his way into the
Hmm.
team because of his goal scoring prowess, and that on the one side he is going to probably strengthen the resolve of the Spanish team this evening. So as mentioned earlier, I'm caught up between the excitement of this youthful Spanish team, but I'm looking at this Moroccan team and I'm saying, let's cause another shock at this World Cup. I mean, this has been the World Cup of shocks, and
Mm.
so excuse me, this has been a World Cup of shocks, and so why not another shock this evening?
Cristiano Ronaldo against stands out only relying on Cristiano Ronaldo. There's another host of other players that are raising their hands and saying, when Ronaldo's not doing that well, you still have a Bruno Fernandes that's still gonna raise his hand up. He's been putting performances that are really well, creating goals, scoring some himself. I think he already has 2 goals in this tournament. So I'm looking at the Swiss side. They have really good World Cup experience. I think every edition of a World Cup they are there, but they never really get as far as the quarterfinals and the semis. They are one of those missing middle teams where they'll make their way out of the group stages, but then when it comes to the knockout stages, it's a whole different story. Seems seems like the quality doesn't just pull them through until the semifinals and the quarterfinals. How do you see this one panning out? Portugal might be Cristiano Ronaldo's last World Cup. He'd want to make it one to remember. And a Swiss team that it's there but not there. Especially when you compare the quality that the Portuguese have and that they have. With all due respect, they have some really good players that play, in the top leagues. Your Granit Xhakas, your Shakiris, who played who play and in the English Premier League. But Portugal just seem to be just a slight upper hand, so to say, with the players that
Yeah.
they have and the motivation of Cristiano Ronaldo being in the squad.
I think definitely, to me, Portugal must definitely be the favourites. The Swiss team, what probably one would call a good group of journeymen. They play hard, they play for each other, but there's no standout play in that Swiss team. There's yes, Granit Xhaka is there. Shadran Shakiri, he was left out in the starting lineup on the first game, but he managed to play his way back into the team to start with in the other teams. But he's also at the back end of his particular international career. So I'm not expecting a great deal from the Swiss. I would expect Portugal to win this game easily, either by a 2-0 margin or a 3-0 margin, with Ronaldo scoring one of those goals. I think not necessarily the pressure, but um, I think the stage has been set for Ronaldo to step up. As I mentioned at the beginning of the program, I mean, we're looking at four of the great players, current great players that are all at the highest stage of international football, that is the World Cup. Three of them have put up their hands and showed exactly that they do have the correct titles and why they are icons. And so tonight, Ronaldo is going to be given that particular opportunity as well. And I think he's going to grab the opportunity. I think he has the temperament to be able to do exactly that for Portugal. And yes, with the likes of the Bruno Fernandes and there are a number of other players that ply the trade in the big leagues in Europe, especially in England. And so these players are definitely going to be able to provide the necessary impetus for Portugal to progress into the quarterfinals of the Football World Cup. But I don't think it is going to happen unless Ronaldo scores one of those goals tonight. So I'm quite looking forward to that happening, because that, as I said, will seal it for me as far as the World Cup is concerned. But then also to see them all, going up against each other in the quarterfinal fixtures. So I'm looking forward to that kind of excitement from Portugal. I think the Portuguese team is a good blend of experience and young players, and with the likes of playmakers like Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, and Ronaldo himself. We're definitely looking for a victory on the side of Portugal over the Swiss team. The only thing I see the Swiss doing is basically blocking the attacking prowess of the Portuguese team. If they were to score a goal early on, then they would probably go on to parking the bus to keep the likes of Fernandes and Cristiano Ronaldo to keep them quiet. But if they don't do that, if Portugal were to score first, then we're going to see two or three goals being scored by Portugal in this particular fixture tonight.
Hmm. Making a really bold statement there. But
Yes,
yeah,
no, I am. Yeah,
it'll
the
be
one
really,
thing
really, really, yeah, it'll be really good
the
to
one
see. I think Cristiano Ronaldo right now is just posing a really frustrated feature there. He wants to score. You can tell. He's a winner.
yeah.
Whatever opportunity, whatever record that can be broken, he'd want to break it. So he's a really, really good addition to the Portuguese side. But I'm looking at the France versus England fixture. I have a feeling whoever wins that fixture will possibly face Brazil in the final. I know there's still other games to go after that. You obviously have the semis, but that's how I feel. What are your thoughts on that one? England,
No,
very 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 yeah
I would agree with you. I mean, I don't see it happening any other way. What I am a little concerned about is the management in which the sort of the groupings have ended up.
yeah
So if you see the teams are all to be, so you almost have a leaning towards the European teams on the one side, and then a leaning towards the South American teams on the other
yeah.
side, and this to me is just something that's a little quirky. I don't know how the draw was made and how they placed the pools, even though everything was done in a very transparent way. But you how do you end up with Brazil and Argentina on the one side,
Yeah.
who are two outstanding teams, and then on the other side you have the likes of England, France, Spain, Portugal, having to fight it out for the. So you have
So
a
it
leaning towards Europe, definitely. The
yeah
one thing I
yeah
wanted to say
the
about this particular
yeah
tournament, and and that is the timing of the tournament. So this is the
hmm
first time in the history of the football World Cup that the tournament is being played in season.
mm,
And so when it's played, when we took talking about playing in season, it means all the players are almost in peak fitness. They are in peak condition. They've been playing football, so it's not that
mm,
they've taken a break. The season has ended. Now they're preparing for a World Cup, and I
mm.
think this has contributed largely to the almost to the exciting play that one is seeing from the Brazilians. So nobody has gone off for a 2 week holiday before they then join the national team and then prepare for the World Cup. Everybody has almost come off their last league game, joined the national team,
Straight
prepared
into the World Cup. Yeah, I think
straight
this
into the World Cup.
I concur with you definitely because it's just that perfect sweet spot during the season
Yeah,
where it's not too late and it's not too early. It's
early.
just
Yeah,
mid season where everyone's just getting going. The second round of
yeah,
fixtures in the leagues are coming along. Peak fitness for the players as you mentioned, and
yeah,
definitely I think that's a really important point that you're raising because we've seen some really really outstanding fixtures and performances.
yeah,
So yeah, definitely. But for me, I think England have done really well. Coming into this
yes,
World Cup, the players that they were able to Southgate, the coach, was able to put together. A lot was said about Trent Alexander-Arnold not playing, but it seems they're doing without him. He's a very important player, especially going forward. He has his critics about how he defends. But I think Kyle Walker in that position is doing really well. They also have Jude Bellingham coming along, Bukayo Saka coming along, really really young players. Phil Foden, young players that are coming of age, so to
yeah,
say. And then you have a French side on the other side, which these you'd say as young as they're tried and tested. 2018 Russia did that T-shirt, and now it's just about proving to the world that 2018 was not a fluke. But you can't stop talking about Kylian Mbappe. He's just magic. He's just
yeah,
magic, and I think with Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, possibly playing their last World Cups. I think it's safe to say we're in safe hands when it comes to seeing, good, exciting, creative football from Kylian Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, for England. I know he's not in the World Cup, but also the I just forget his name now. The Manchester City player, no
oh
Norwegian.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So you have
Erling
a nice
Haaland, Erling
yes,
Haaland.
Erling Haaland. So you
Yeah.
have a generation of footballers that are coming along, and the future looks exciting, eh?
Absolutely, absolutely. There's absolutely no doubt about it, and so definitely something that comes to the fore in a big way, and I think the Southgate, has done well. And the England team have threatened to deceive over the last probably 6 years, where they've done well in Europe. They've done reasonably well at the World Cup, they just haven't broken through. And I think here's an opportunity for them to make that breakthrough um, into this World Cup semi-finals, possibly if they were to beat France, and then go all the way into the final. So it is an opportunity. The team is a well balanced team, and the fact that Harry Kane has scored his first goal at the World Cup this year is an important probably turnaround, and it could be a catalyst for what lies ahead. So I think the fact that he has tasted scoring that goal is putting him at the forefront of the England attack now. And if you feed him, he's going to score the goals for you. So France should be watching out for him because he's definitely going to come back strong.
No, thank you so much. I'm gonna let you go now to go enjoy the Morocco and Spain game. I'm pretty sure you're looking forward to it. The teams are probably coming out now to sing the national anthems. After this, I'm definitely going to watch it. But your predictions quickly: Morocco, Spain. I know they both have a special place in your heart. Spain, I think, that love affair began when they
Let's call
won
it
the 2010
Morocco two
World
one.
Cup. Morocco
Let's call
two
it
one.
Morocco 2-1. Yeah,
There we go. There we go. At least having an African representative there
yeah.
in the
That's
semis.
all that we're looking
Definitely, definitely. But otherwise, Jazakallah so much, Uncle Ismail. Always a pleasure talking to you. Deep insights, brilliant analysis. And yeah, we should check in again around next week to chat football, probably the semis. We'll have an idea who's who in the zoo and who's potentially going to play in the final.
Shukran for having me, and assalamu alaikum to you and to your listeners.
I mean, salamu alaikum. Yeah, there you have it. Brilliant, brilliant analysis there, in-depth understanding of the World Cup. I told you he has a keen eye, that he's keeping at the World Cup because it's really coming to the business end of things. Teams that are that have qualified are, the usual suspects. Brazil is there, the Netherlands are there, Argentina with Messi are there, France, Kylian Mbappe are there, England with a host of stars, young talent coming through there that are, trying to prove themselves and that are trying to etch their names in the echelons of footballing history. It's been coming home. Are they the generation that's going to be bringing the World Cup to England after so many years? We're yet to see, but I'm still calling it that whoever wins that France versus England quarterfinal is going to face Brazil in the final on the 18th of December. Yeah, so screenshot this conversation, screenshot this recording, and send it back to me. And obviously, Brazil's going to win the World Cup, man. I mean, if you looked at the performance yesterday against South Korea, oh my God, I think it was probably the most exciting first half that I've ever watched, not only in this World Cup, but in the previous World Cups that I've watched before. The cohesion in the team, how they spread the passes, the creativity, how everyone basically did what they were meant to do. You had the Casemiros in the middle of the park, breaking out the South Korean attack, starting the attacks, Neymar, the creativity, Vinicius Jr., the speed, Rafinha. You can name each and every player in the Brazilian squad, and all of them raise their hand. I mean, going back to the keeper himself, Alisson Becker, who made brilliant saves. They just looked like a complete team. I don't blame them for celebrating the way that they did. There seems to be a really nice energy in the team. A lot of people are saying, they were not professional about how they were, the way they were celebrating. As far as Tite also joining in the celebrations, the dance mid game. I'm saying that's the Brazil you expect to see. Brazil is colorful. It's samba. It's creativity, and I think they're bringing it to the World Cup. It's who they are, and for the longest of time, we've not been seeing that because I think a lot of coaches that were brought in into the Brazilian setup were trying to, copy what the European teams are doing, and as the old saying says, you can't beat the Pope at being Catholic, and I think that's what went wrong in the past. What three World Cups going back from 2010, 2014, in Brazil where they were humiliated by Germany, that 7-1 defeat, and then going to Russia also where they made only the round of 16, and they were also sent home packing in the early stages. So I think right now Brazil have found themselves again. They found their rhythm. They're playing beautiful football. There doesn't seem to be a lot of pressure in the team. The egos are managed nicely by Tite, the coach. So yeah, Brazil for me, come the 18th of December, they're the ones that are going to be lifting the World Cup. That's just me. This World Cup has proven that it has a lot of surprises. It has a lot of, unexpected moments. But football fans, we enjoy them, especially when our lovely Bafana is not there. So we'll just choose and pick whoever our hearts follow. But kudos to Morocco, being the last African team to represent the continent in the last 16. Hopefully they're gonna do us proud against a really, really, really good Spanish side. But yeah, we're just gonna hold thumbs for them. I'm gonna run off to watch the game now. It's 5 p.m. The Atlas Lions representing Africa, the last remaining African team. Hopefully you're gonna be supporting them. I know I will. But for now, from me, Olani behind the desk, and the rest of the team, is Salaam alaikum. Goodbye. See you again tomorrow.